Hi everyone, welcome back to Tarot for Tired People. I am S, your in-house tired girl, and today we're doing the 12 decks tag created by Angel from Feeding My Soul 1212. She's brilliant. She always comes up with such creative prompts that make you look at your collection so differently. She said we could go completely rogue with it, but I'm sticking to her format, which is 3 decks for each of the 4 prompts. This isn't just about showing my cards, but I guess it's also kind of sharing the weird and wonderful relationships I have with my decks and why some of them speak to me immediately and some of them stay silent, and how really my collection has become mirrors of who I am as a reader. So let's get on with it. The first prompt is 3 decks I felt called to use immediately. So the first deck I have for this is the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum. It hit me like lightning. If there's a song that I can use to describe it, it's the song Electric Feel by MGMT. That's what it really personifies, I think. This deck is an emotional storm in color, like not gentle healing pastels, but fierce electric transformation. Let me see if I can find the Fool card. But the Fool card on this deck is literally how I feel about the journeys it takes me on. It's like stepping into infinity, and the infinity is dark, but you are hopeful. Like, look at the Star card. I understand why this is such a classic, and it spoke to me from the second it entered my house, and it has become an unstoppable force in my collection. It has never left my hand, but I do not go to it for hugs. It demands that you trust the process of change. Like, it doesn't whisper. Look at that Four of Cups. There is that anger about him. It's a very makes you think, but there is this liminal space about it. It is almost like a deck that takes you to another world, and this world of reds and greens, where there's a bit of harshness almost, but you find answers that you wouldn't find otherwise. Like, there is a roughness about the art and about the energy of this. And I like that. Sometimes you want that, you know? Really nice deck. So let's move on to the next deck that spoke to me. Otherwise, we'll be here for eons. So the next deck that I have is the Gentle Tarot, which is exactly the opposite of the Tarot of Holy Spectrum when it comes to energy. This is, I like to call it the Golden Retriever of in deck form. It's literally a hug in deck form. And where Holy Spectrum challenges, this one holds space. It speaks softly, but never shallow. On hard days when the world feels really sharp, I like to sit down with this deck. Like, it doesn't show the ending essence of death, but more the transformation of it. And this is why I really like this deck. Its comfort is not like surface level. It's almost like deep nourishment. Like in Nine of Wands, this one has such a stealth energy. It's almost evoking resilience more than anything else. And I like that. I like how there is this positivity about this deck, but not a surface level one. This Empress card is my most favorite card of this deck. It just so warm, but also so gentle, really. Like, she's got that energy. The Star card is exceptional. Some of these cards just make you feel like actually the world's not as bad as I think it is. Everything's gonna be okay. It's that deck. It's that deck that tells you everything's gonna be okay. And I actually bought this instead of, like, I think the borders also sort of add to the art of this deck. They add this color, but it's so muted that it's not in your face. Like, this Four of Cups is so much gentler than the Four of Cups of Holy Spectrum. So they almost are speaking the same thing, but in completely different essences. So you feel your takeaways are very different between both these decks. And yet this one spoke to me as soon as it walked in, and it gave me a hug and it said, "Come sit with me. I know you've been stressed, but I'm here now. And things are going to be okay, and we're going to go through it together." That's exactly how I feel about it. So we'll end with the High Priestess and move on to the third deck. The third deck is again a very special deck to me. So the deck is called Death Doula Oracle, and I bought it because I have been unfortunately, very close to death. No, sorry, I have had the unfortunate experience of having met and being the one left behind living. And every time a loved one dies, a part of you dies with them. So grief, death, these are not concepts that are too alien to me. And I got this thinking it would help me in my grief work. But I didn't think that it would become my everyday companion because what this deck does, and I told the creator this, I said that, this is one of the classic decks. And it's funny because I saw the same tag being answered by Kerry Coffee and Cards. And this was one of the decks that did not speak to her. And it's funny because how the same deck could be someone's deck that speaks the most and someone's deck that does not, because this entire world is so personal, isn't it? And this one really did not speak to me about the finalities of death, the final transitions, but more about the re-emergence every time, like every day, our cells are dying, right? And new cells are being born. And I feel this deck speaks more about the reborn, the process of dying and being reborn, and the old versions falling away for what's emerging. Like when I get a card like Lower World, it's almost like the lower world of my consciousness more than the lower world. Like remothering for me is more like remothering myself. And like the void is a beautiful space to be in, honestly. So there is something very hopeful about this deck and also very gentle about it. It is a very graceful deck. And I have used it, I use it almost every day. There is, I don't know, maybe because it's a concept that sits with me every day, but I don't see death and grief when I work with this. It is literally a wayfinding deck for me. It's a serene deck for me that helps me, day to day in the evening, calms me down and sits like a coffee. Like even this fear card is just this super gentle, calming card where you're almost dying and you've given into it and you're okay with it. It's that acceptance that, okay, I'm ready for this. And there's only peace on the other side and whatever that journey is. It's that peacefulness that comes, after the drama of death. And that is what I feel this deck invokes for me. So definitely a deck that spoke to me and speaks to me every day. It has quickly become my everyday companion. It's a beautiful deck, honestly. Next up, we have three decks that don't want to speak to me, and it's okay because I still like them. And the first one we have is Nova Witch Tarot. I actually bought this deck for my friend, but Amazon gave me an extra copy. Not going too much into it, but basically, I have one. And it's a gorgeous deck, but it's completely silent for me, and I expected it to be. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous deck, though. It's very pretty, and I think the art is very nice. My friend was very happy to get this deck, and it has beautiful imagery. Like it's like going through a magazine, and sometimes you just want to go through pretty cards, even if they're not, mystical or they're not evoking tremendous deep readings. It's still cool to sit with these. This is a cool deck. Maybe it's for somebody younger. Not sure. I'm just a millennial. But like I always say, but I still love the color palette of this deck. It's nice. And I am absolutely okay that it doesn't speak to me. I wouldn't rehome it. I would still have this around because it's still a gorgeous deck. Sometimes I like to use it for the altar, but because it doesn't connect with me energetically, I also don't use it for the altar like I tried to. Now I just go through it like as if I'm going through Vogue, just a magazine, like these little specks of purple, the use of white and yellow, and the sketching, the color palette and the art is very, very cool for this deck. So the Hermit card is a significator of mine, and I don't like it on this deck. So it's okay. Some decks are not, friends, they're acquaintances. The next one that I really wish would speak to me, but eventually didn't, and now she just sits on my shelf is Every Little Thing You Do is Magic. I think it's because my neurodivergent brain is not very okay with busy collages, and I've learned that the hard way because I've really tried with this deck, and I've tried with Goddess Love Tarot also. And collages that are super busy just don't speak to me. Collage is okay as long as it's not super busy. And this one has a lot happening, like photography and sketch, and then there's the border and all of that. And it just, when I look at this Three of Pentacles, it just does not. I see the hard work of the bees, but it doesn't go beyond that. Like, it's not the first thing I see. And as a card, it just does not help me in the reading, because the art has to speak so loudly in a reading. I'm so involved in a reading. It's like meditation to me. That if the art is not speaking and I have to think about it, it doesn't work. But I do like that the tower here is not something that's broken. That's cool. I think it's a cool deck. I understand why it's famous, but and that's why I bought it. I still use it sometimes for spreads and stuff like that, but it just does not speak to me. I love the little coins, and that's okay. Next was another disappointment. I wish. Well, this one's trying to speak to me. I'm not going to, like, maybe in a month it will speak. The Flower Oracle by Broccoli Mag. I bought this one and the Celestial Oracle, and this one is just, I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't say anything where I'm like, wow, thank you for saying that. And it's gorgeous. The art is gorgeous. Okay, rarity, sensuality, luxury, beautiful, right? But it needs to evoke, for me, these decks need to evoke more. It needs to evoke something in me. If it does not evoke in me, I cannot connect with it, right? So it's perfectly pleasant, but it's like a beautiful coffee table deck, but you don't go beyond that small talk that you would have with it. Like, okay, great, a hummingbird is about agility, stamina. I get it. The daisy is about youth. So nice deck, but doesn't really speak. It tries, sometimes it pairs really well, and so I would give it 3 points for that. But the Celestial Oracle definitely speaks a lot more than this one. But who doesn't love flowers, right? We have friends who don't like flowers, but still, I love flowers. So I had to get this one. Next. So next we move on to decks. Three decks I want to study. I would study something like that. And I don't do deck studies like the community does, essentially because I don't have a lot of time and because my practice is very different. But these the decks that I'm going to show here, it's not just time. It's after my work. Like, I don't want tarot to become a chore. I do love the worlds it takes me to, but a study I've tried to do in the way I've seen on Tarot Tube, and it felt too much like homework, and so I've kind of changed it a little bit for myself. But anyway, this is not about how I study decks. It's about decks that I would like to study. So the first one is Rose Tarot. It's by Nigel Jackson. Of course, all of us know him, know this deck. It is incredible, and I bought it for that. I bought it because this is one of my esoteric decks. I knew it was going to be. This is what I bought it for. The symbology, the esoteric wisdom. It's like a labyrinth of hermetic wisdom where every element is, carries like centuries of mystical meaning. And this one, like, not every deck makes me go into guidebook. I'm not a guidebook person per se. I'm a very big intuitive reader. But this one, let me just make space here. This guidebook really takes me to, and teaches me more. Like, the King of Swords is the biblical king and prophetic poet David. The sword he wears is the weapon with which he beheaded Goliath. I just beheaded that word. Anyway, so I love, like, when I am sitting with this deck and when I am studying this deck, it teaches beyond readings. Each card is like a meditation of almost like alchemical traditions and archetypal wisdom. Like, look at this star card. There is so much symbolism in these cards. There is so much of wisdom in this deck, which is half turned. Look at the Emperor card or the Magician card. You could spend hours on each of these cards. So this is definitely a deck that I had done a deeper study with. And I would, like, every time I would do a study, it would probably tell me more and show me more. There's a lot to take. I understand why Nigel Jackson is a cult tarot creator, because this is a very, very nice, deep deck full of wisdom. I love what Angel said in her video that, yeah, it was her, that decks are like cats. They don't have owners, they have people that take care of them. And I agree. I also view my decks as books, because I grew up in a house that was a library almost. Like, my family loves reading till date. And there's a certain respect with which we treat books. There's a certain way we treat books, and for me, I do the same with decks now. So there are certain decks that are very clear that we're very special, and we don't want to be read every day. We don't want to answer questions like, "Oh, how is September going to go?" or some random stuff. We want to sit with you, and we want you to take you places that are not necessarily inside you, but more inside the world that you can see through our deck and through the deck. And the Ferenc Pinter Tarot is exactly that. And this is a deck I would like to study, because it is not, I've tried to read with it, it's not meant for everyday readings. It's a very, and I love that it's not like the Dali Tarot where you see Dali come alive in the tarot. But here's an artist that I would have not known of if it wasn't for the tarot deck. So I have discovered an artist, and his art is equally dark and light, and very interesting. um, this deck is like surreal. It's symbolic. It's even hauntingly beautiful. Like, let me see if I can find. Like, look at the Ten of Cups. The way he is, looking up. There is a sort of, protecting the child from the harsh rays of the sun almost. Um, there is something very haunting about this deck, and that's why I think I would really like to study it as a deck study. Like, this is Seven of Pentacles. Tell me you don't find this haunting enough. Every single, like, Five of Pentacles, I love. Like, this is one of my favorite cards in tarot anyway, and I just love how he has painted this one, like how they've used this painting of his for this. And this gives you the Van Gogh feeling of Van Gogh's painting of his room, I think. And there is the austerity of this room. There is the people who have been left out cold are in a room like this, and you almost feel like in the corner there's a figure. It's just really, it takes you to its own world. It doesn't travel with you to your world, if you get what I mean. And it is mystical. Like, the Three of Wands has that feeling of looking over your kingdom, but maybe in times of war, there's a guy there who is also peeking in. You almost see a face in this wall. Like, maybe I see those things a little extra. Um, but yeah, like, this one makes me think of Andy Warhol. I just think that there are all kinds of various types of art that has fed into this in his paintings, and it's very symbolic. So I'd like to study this. Again, I don't want to take an hour and sit down to study it with you here. That was not the point of the tag, I know. So we're going to move quickly to the next deck, which I'm very excited about, guys. I mean, it's new. I haven't done anything, but I really wish I had this in school, because I would I'd be better in chemistry. Let's just say it that way. So this is Materia Prima, and it literally this deck turns science into poetry. That's what I would say about this. Like, I also got the guidebook. I wish they sold it together, because this cannot be read without the guidebook. But price wise, it comes to the same thing. So I'm not going to complain. But if chemistry and if science was taught to me like this, I'd be incredible with it. But I wasn't taught like this. So, firstly, incredible guidebook. Just hydrogen hidden in the heavens from behind the stars, the immense, incredible, mythological fertility of hydrogen looms, towers of miraculous creation from the heart of the dark and frozen cosmos bulging with the unmanifested essence of all things. Outflows this formless purity into the light of stars, spiritual suns, whose perpetual consumption is our birth. So well written. And I don't want pages and pages. I want good writing. And that's what this book is. This book, without the deck, would stand. And that for me is a benchmark of a great guidebook. So this is birth, fertility, etc. But let's go through this. I feel like this deck is, forgive me, but criminally underrated. I think people lose it in the, it doesn't have a guidebook, it cannot be paired, and I don't know what. But I don't think it's created for that. I think it holds its own space. And it's endlessly fascinating. It shows there's no conflict between scientific and spiritual worldviews. Like both attempt to understand the same mysteries through different languages. And it is just, I wish there is another one. I forgot. It's a Daniel somebody deck, Systems Oracle, which is out of print now. I wish I had that. But it has that kind of depth in this, but in a very almost esoteric way. It's mythological, it's scientific, it's a different way of looking at nickel, or looking at copper. Growing up Indian, we already knew like the benefits of copper. We used copper utensils, we used, them for our pujas. But just looking at it from here, and forgive uh, my neurodivergence because I first go into looking for the page instead of the contents. But let's find copper here, 99. Formed from the rupture of massive stars and birthed deep in the soil, copper, that soft pinkish orange Cinderella, has toiled all her years in mud filled trenches, carrying humanity on her back from the Stone Age to the Information Age. Essential as she is, our very breath depends on her presence. Superficial, flashier peers often outshine her considerable talents, yet this shadow does not deter her. Always looking for a way out or a way through a problem. Oops. Copper is a graceful, resilient, and tireless queen, a quiet Venus. So the keyword here is resilience. And when you read the word resilience, it does stand for that, doesn't it? So I love how it has made me essentially reflect on matter from a whole different lens. And I am waiting. I can't wait to study this deck and study matter. It's like going back to the kind of chemistry class that I want to be in, not the one I was in. This is my past saying, you deserve this. We're sorry about your chemistry teacher. Like, it's incredibly done, honestly. So let's move on. What is the next prompt? I have the prompts written here, guys. 3 decks I want to explore before year's end. Okay, let's get on with it. Sorry about the wobble. My cat decided to dance with a tripod. Anyway, so the 3 decks I want to explore before year's end. The first deck is also new to me. It just arrived a week ago, I think, and it's called Departures Tarot. It's by Nick Jacobs, and it is it's a very evocative deck, and it gives me very winter feels, very fall feels. And I live in Dubai, which means we don't have a fall, but we have a beautiful winter, which is in no way dark or gloomy. But hey, I can still feel the feels through decks like this. And I think this deck is done really well. I after buying it, I saw Sasha Lopez's video where she had also bought this and she said it's AI assisted. I didn't know that. And I get it. I have my own views on AI because I work in a field where we use AI every day. And I feel like if someone's able to manipulate AI to get his vision to life, it's like using Photoshop to get his creative vision to life. And that's what matters. So I still see his art and I don't care what medium he used for it, right? That's how I view it, but it's completely okay if you view it differently. I just wanted to mention it here. And I did not, this is my first, I guess, AI deck, but I've seen a few on TarotTube which look so blatantly AI and it doesn't evoke anything. This one, I wouldn't even know if I hadn't seen her video because this one I saw and I had to get it. The art is incredible. So I think he's done a really good job with it. And I want to get into this as my, before the end of the year. It's got those fall vibes. And I think that it's not easy to manipulate AI. So you need incredible skills to be able to do it. And I think he's really done it well. That's what I would like to say. Like, this is the Three of Swords. It's done so well. It's a really nice um, deck. It's very artistic. It's dark. It's got a very muted color palette and it's printed very brightly. Love the cardstock. Very nice. Look at the Nine of Wands. See here in the Nine of Wands, it's not the resilience as much as the tiredness of that wounded soldier that comes through. This is why I love how the art of different decks evoke different meaning. And I myself am very surprised that because when I came across the topic of AI in tarot community, I had to relook at AI in a different way because I was coming from a very AI positive world. We use AI in various forms every single day at work. And I had to look at it from, tarot content creators' perspective. I thought, but it's like Photoshop. But then when I see some AI decks, I'm like, that doesn't evoke anything. This one does. So it really depends on the human and what he takes out of it, right? So this is the Departures Tarot, a deck that I'd like to get into before the year's end. Number 4. Then we have Embodied Ecosystems. I love it. I have sat with this one. I think it's a really nice deck. But why I love it is because it reminds me of the years I spent between 2016 to 2018. I used to meditate every day. I was a big meditation person. And meditation for me at that time was the journey it took me on was unreal. I had astral projections, I had prophetic visions, I had ancestral, I don't know what all, it was magical. But mostly what it did for me was it connected me with the central cosmic energy that runs through all of us, that connects us to everything around us, living and non living, where even the non living things are energy, right? This is how I understand my cats without us having the same language. And that energy is what this deck is about because this deck, I'm sorry, that came out wrong. This deck um, explores that interconnectedness. It talks about the ecosystems in us and the ecosystems outside and how we connect with it. And I bought it because of that. I thought it was a very interestingly done tarot oracle and by Rachel Amber. And here comes the interconnectedness of my cat. Please don't come into the video. Next. Let me just check if she's coming in. No, okay, it's fine. Uh, and these are the major arcanas, right? Like I think she's done a really, really good job with it. And I would like to, I think, just scratched the surface of this. And I have a lot more to see and learn in this deck. And I would definitely like to use it a lot more before the year's end and really, really sit with it. Why are all my decks always turned? I don't understand. What do I do with them? Honestly. Conduit of stability. How beautiful. Root of awareness. This awareness is the sword suit in this one. Fluidity is the cup suit, and stability is the pentacles, and transformation is the wand suit. So I think, like, look at that. This card, it says remembrance, and you see all of these ancestors, or rather ancestral figures, spirits, spirit guides. That's what we call them, right? I don't know. I don't think I have spirit guides. I think my cats are my spirit guides. Um, and they just guide me to feed them. But yeah, I really like this deck, and definitely one of the decks that I'd want to get into. I'm sorry if I go quiet. It just, some of these decks, they just take you on the journeys and they forget. They don't know that the camera is rolling. They don't know that you're recording a video. And then I go quiet and I'm like, come on, S, you're recording a video. Get with it. People are falling asleep. So we'll get with it. And we will get with the deck that comes out every Christmas. Guys, do you or do you not love Nightmare Before Christmas? I love the movie, yes. But I actually like the deck more. Is that possible? I don't know. I didn't buy it because I'm such a big fan of the movie. I bought it because I thought the deck was really cool. And every it's a deck that comes out every end of the year for me. Because Christmas here is sunny and the lowest temperatures we go to is 16. That this one just brings that whimsical bits, but in a very magical way. It's dark. It like honors winter's dark mysteries, but also the whole Tim Burton feels. And it's a really well done deck. Like I love how bright it is and how funny it is. And I brought this in for the deck that I want to explore before the year's end, even though it's been in my collection for a very long time, is because it always comes out end of the year and I have to sit down with it and read regularly. Great. Nightmare Before Christmas. How cool is this deck? I know it's old, but I really like it. Look at the two of candles here. And then you have potions are the cups. So you have the potions, you have the needles, and then the emperor is Santa Claus. I love the sun card in this. In all of this, let me see if I can find it. Ah, it's here. Like, guys, look at this card. It's so nice. I love this sun card. There is just so much happiness of him without eyes to be able to see these lights and the happiness he feels. I love this card. So that's the tag. That's my take on the 12 decks tag. Thank you, Angel, for this one. It was so simple but thoughtful, and I love a tag that makes me go into, look at my library of decks and speak to them and ask them if they want to be part of a tag video. And it really makes us see collections with fresh eyes and rediscovering forgotten books on almost like books that I haven't. The Rose Tarot actually is not something that I use on a day-to-day basis, and I wouldn't have remembered this one as being part of the tag, as a deck that I would want to be, part of this tag. If it wasn't for the tag. So thank you, Angel, for that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Please give it a like and maybe subscribe if you like my voice, and even if you don't, because I'm a new creator, and it would really help me. That's it. Bye, guys.